Welcome to the Buylist. This is episode 7.
This is not financial advice. This is cardboard.
That's going to be a thing every week, huh, Nate?
Oh, it definitely is.
Yeah, for sure. So, let's get into it. So we're going to be looking into the announcements, the gold foil announcements, and then diving into some Majestics like we did last week on our Wednesday episode. Again, just a reminder, if you've been watching, we're splitting up our episodes a bit. One's going to come out on Wednesday. That's going to be, look for Majestics and Legendaries to pick up. And then Friday is going to be the set EV episode. So we're going to kind of like split them up, make them a little bit more bite-sized, make them so that you can listen to them on your commute into work or, walking the dog or whatnot. So yeah, I think it would be easier and a better format overall. So yeah, let's talk about it, Nate. The gold refinery collectors week started off with a bang, and so we got our numbers that we were speculating on last Friday. And interesting, I think we weren't too far off. We were thinking about 50 each for the legendaries, but I guess we didn't even talk about the Majestics, rares, or commons, right? Yeah, I find this kind of interesting. Legendaries coming in at 40, Majestics coming in at 60, rares coming in at 80 total, and commons at 100. So those are going to be pretty common. For gold foil standards. And then the extended art legendary, which Nate and I were talking about, that is currently the Crown of Providence for calling winners. So what do you think on these numbers, Nate?
I have no idea. Like when you think about 100, like 100 even at common is not a lot of any one individual thing. It's really going to come down to demand. Like where's the demand at for these items, and what do the collectors want to do with this information? Once the article dropped, it was kind of funny. You saw a bunch of buy posts who were like, "Oh, like buying super cheap because there's way too many," and then you saw a bunch of sell posts who were like, "Hey, there's not very many."
One of 15 in the circulation right now. Yeah, it was kind of interesting. The buyers wanted to go cheap and the sellers wanted to go high, right? So it was an interesting dichotomy there.
It will be very interesting to see where the collector and player community kind of settle on this, right? Because I mean, these are coming right from the players, getting sent to collectors in most cases. I was actually shocked that the legendary and majestic were so low, to be completely honest. Like gold foil extended art tunics are 50. I expected everything to be higher than that number.
Yeah.
I was shocked that it wasn't. Now, the tunic is obviously like the most iconic card in this game. It is the Black Lotus of Flesh and Blood.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any debating that is like the single most iconic card to anyone who's ever played Flesh and Blood. They first and foremost think of tunic.
Yeah, so that's a good point. I saw some grumblings about that, how the extended art tunic is now the the least rare legendary. And yeah, that's factually true. I think it's interesting that they've they went backwards from that, because I think you're right, Nate, that you would think they would go higher just to keep that rare Black Lotus type card prize the rarest of them all, right? But yeah, I mean, I guess this is where we're at now, the 40 overall. The one other comment that I'd like to make, it doesn't show it here, is how they're handing these out and how they're going to do these moving forward. And what I mean by that is they commented on that every time a new set comes out, and I think we chatted about it in our last episode too, and I think I was pretty close on my speculation that they're just going to keep adding cards to these pools, right? So every set's going to get 3 to 4, maybe 5 gold foils added to the pool, so that's 40 more cards. And now they've set the precedence that these are going to be randomly given out now. So, and they kind of explained it in the article that as they add more, the pull rates of certain legendaries are going to keep going down because there's just so many more to pull from, which I think really could be very cool in the next 3 to 5 years, as like, let's say WTR legendary gold foils kind of stagnate or like get into the 30s even, because they're kind of quite, in circulation is kind of quite low right now. So like, calling in 2025, you might want to open one of those because you might get a grasp, and that might be the 40th or even into the 30. It's a 1% pull rate or a 0.5% pull rate. Some of those will get very rare, I think.
I think it does a lot to stabilize the market as a whole, though.
Yeah.
In terms of like, you're not going to be seeing multiple like Tekla hearts, grasps, like
Hmm.
tech platings being opened over a couple months. Like you might see one of these introduced into the pool a year. So I think it adds a lot of stability into like the confidence of collectors to be able to basically like, hey, you're not gonna get hosed.
Yeah.
And a lot of vendors who were buying these for like
Yeah.
$5,000 previously when everything was like pumping,
Yeah.
you're not gonna get hosed when you purchase one of these. Like these should be relatively stable assets that you're picking up, and you're not gonna like all of a sudden see the value that the hard-earned money that you spent just completely washed away in these collectible cards.
Yeah, and I think, Nate, as we're looking through the data, I'm not going to pull it up here just because it's such a large chart. Um, they didn't say this specifically, but I believe this is not the way that they're going to do it moving forward is not the way that they've always done it. There's some very glaring numbers that, with the TOA legendaries specifically, that, they're, I think almost all of them are over 30 in circulation already. I think I forgot which one's just under, but they're all up over 25, at least 30 on most of them. So I think that was something that they were, yeah, I don't know what was going on there, but this new system that they laid out in this article, I don't think was the way that they were doing it previously. I would imagine they were kind of just putting out, hey, everyone wants the newest legendaries, the coolest, creepers, rampart, and they were just flooding, well, not flooding, but I think they were just giving those out for prizes instead. But now if they're going to go all the way back to WTR, to Arc, get that Arcanite skull cap in there, shuffle them up, not really shuffle them, but shuffle them up, hand them out randomly to top 8. I think you'll start to see some slowing down of dupes, because for a while there was like, oh, shock charmers, oh, creepers. I mean, a lot of creepers got pulled, right? A lot of ramparts. So
Yeah, it was very like in that short stretch. It's actually I don't know if it was ever said anywhere. It seemed like there was I think it was the US Battle Hardened way back. It was the US Nationals Battle Hardened in Orlando. And
mm.
I thought that they said that was like going to be the last gold foil skull cap ever given out. I think Zach Bunn won that one. But now there's 8
Oh,
more left. I don't know if they ever said it was, but it was going to be the last one where one was awarded during the battle harden. But now there's
yeah,
8 more in the
I think
inventory.
you're right. I think it was just because it used to, battle hardened winners used to get a skull cap, and that was
Yeah,
it. And then right after that, they switched to a curated pull, which I don't know what that quite means, because then for a while there was stalagmite and then
yes.
possibly something else. So I think they might pick one. They didn't say that in this article at all, how that's going to work. I would assume it now becomes part of the randomization. I don't think they would do anything special anymore. I think it's just, it could be anything now, which
Yeah, I don't know
again,
that
I
we
think is cool.
I don't know that we've seen a whole lot of battle hardened um winners open their
Hmm.
so I don't know like recently if that's been proven to be legendaries or if they're dropping that into more of like the PQ kind of bucket of Majestics, rares, and commons.
Yeah. I believe Brody, was that a battle hardened? No, it wasn't. Sorry. No, the
No, that was
Brody, that was just a min max thing.
Brody got hosed.
Yeah. Yeah. Poor
Nice,
kid.
nice talismanic lens, Brody.
Yeah. Yeah. Ouch. But yeah, I think you're right. And just the nature of battle hardens, the EV is like, you're like $500, you know, you
Yeah.
got to travel to these things, right? So I don't blame the people that are winning these, just leaving them sealed and selling them, because you will get more for that, right? Just so that you don't
Yeah.
draw into that tough one, you know, shock charmers or, you know, whatnot. Get it kind of rough. I think the uprising ones are pretty tough to open too. I mean, I'm sure there's always somebody looking for something, but yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much flame scale or bust.
Yeah. Okay, so let's jump into our deep dive here, Nate. So this week we're going to continue the theme of last week of cheap Majestics that are looking forward to dawn or dusk. Couple cards that I picked, you know, staying with the shadow side, like I tend to do. First one here is Mark of the Beast. I think, you know, dawn or dusk is, man, I don't want to say guaranteed, but what do you think, Nate? I have to imagine there's going to be some juice for Levia in that set, right?
It's like with outsiders, it looks like the way that LSS wants to balance the game going forward is they want to keep the hero pool to right about 20, which is I think we're at like 19 heroes right now. What are
Mm-hmm.
we at?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I don't know the exact number, to be honest.
So they might only introduce like 4 a year as like 4 get LL'd out.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like going forward, what they're going to try to do is like with outsiders is just kind of lift the bottom up to the top, and
Yeah.
then let them kind of like duke it out and then like reshape the meta from there. Because like bringing Azalea up, um, I mean, like Azalea absolutely destroyed that PTI event in Chicago.
Yeah.
Now everyone gets to adapt and like see like, oh, this is a real deck now.
Right.
But also Katsu got like a ton of tools.
Yep.
And Katsu hasn't been a playable hero in a long time. So
Yeah.
don't at me. So it'll be interesting to see. Like Leviah and Bolton are both also unplayable heroes.
Yeah.
So I think that there's going to be a lot of support for them, and I think there's going to be a light Marvel Dory. You're welcome, James White, for the idea.
Print money. Print Marvel Dory. Profit. Step 3, profit. Yeah, so
smart man, he'll do it.
yeah. So that's exactly what we're thinking here. I mean, Levia needs big help. I think probably on the same tier as Azalea before Outsiders. So I suspect she's going to get some pretty powerful pieces. She's got an uphill battle, and I think Mark of the Beast here. I mean, let's like look at these numbers again, right? I mean, the illusionist cards we looked at last week, we're talking under 50 cents. This card here, Mark of the Beast. One thing to note that looking for cards for this week's episode is that, hey, this is a brew card that blocks for 3. Wouldn't you know? That is all I'm going to say about this card. Nah,
Yeah.
just joking. But anyways, I mean, this card is very solid. I think if Levi becomes a deck, I think this is definitely in the deck or close to being in the deck, right? Block 3, throw for 6. It's a yellow, which kind of lines up with her cost curve as well. 47 cents. There's like only 17 of them sold, 136. It's the market's flooded. You can see it here. It's been under $1 forever. Pick these up now if you want to play Brute. If you're a Rhinar guy, if you're just picking up the game, I know Brutes have their player base out there, so just grab these now for $1.50 and slot them in your book, slot them in your collection, and then pull them out when Levia is tier 1, right?
Yeah. For those of you who know me as a player, I'm a Rhinar apologist. So the card's decent, right? All the good cards in the card that we'll talk about next, all the good brute cards don't block. It's the issue. It's the issue with whoever the Timmy is who designs brute cards at LSS, because like the brute card, like if it's good, it just can't block. It's like it's a syndrome. I don't know what it is. It's an issue, but like this is definitely going to be a good card in Levia. The fact that it just like it in and of itself can turn off blood, that it's what you want to be doing, because she has the innate inability to do that.
Yep. All right, let's jump into the card number 2 here for Levia. As we were talking about, doesn't block. Shadow of Blasphemous. So Nate and I were talking about this for a bit before the pod, getting our thoughts out on it. And I think this card, the key text here for me when I was looking through these, kind of forgot this card existed. But so you got to do some stuff, draw a card, discard a card, random, brute stuff, 6 or more, and then you get to search your deck for a card that has Blood Debt on it. Instantly, I thought, okay, if we're thinking about Dusk Till Dawn, if there's some some real powerful card you want to go grab, yeah, searching your deck and just going and grabbing it, pretty good. Even though it doesn't block, it kind of lines up with other ones. 2 for 6 again, kind of your standard. It does have Blood Debt. It kind of, it's interesting, right? I think going and grabbing a card with Blood Debt on it is could be very powerful if you have the right targets.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, all of the Arc introduced kind of that tutor block. This one you have to go through a little bit more of a hoop to jump through. But all of you look at knock the knock the death whistle, lessons in lava, become the Arc Knight, Spark of Genius, all amazing cards that are auto includes in their hero. And this is going to be one of them if there's something worth pulling for sure.
Yeah, and to look at the numbers here again, I there's not much to talk about on the number side on these cards, right? Just like last week, they're dirt cheap. There's like a ton of them, right? It's there's you can just go grab them, easy to get, no issues going and getting them. So yeah, go pick these up as well. I think I'm not going to say that they're like in a deck, but the searchability is could be very strong.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's jump over to Nate, your cards here.
This has been one of my favorite cards. So I got started in the game during Monarch. I have heavy bags, which are actually becoming unheavy as we speak. But this has been one of my favorite cards since Monarch released. I love playing Doriaxes and Blitz. Even though I hate playing Blitz. If you force me to play Blitz, I will play Doriaxes. Because this card is cracked. Axes gain +2 and dominate until the end of the turn. The current axes are Hatchet of Mind and Hatchet of Body, which are okay. I'm just hoping we get something. I hope we get a better.
What about Merciless, dude?
It sucks. It's a terrible card.
It's so bad, dude. It's so bad.
I don't know. I don't
know how they're gonna do it, but
if there's hatchets that have on-hit abilities, it's gonna be this will be a axe staple as they slowly implement axe cards.
Yeah, I mean, I think LSS is shown, right? Even with Merciless, as much as we make fun of it, it's it is a good like there are what do I want to say? They are showing that axes are coming, right? They've obviously thought about it with Spill Blood way back. The hatchets were in the set, but I think they keep kind of releasing cards slowly until they get to an axe and a hero that wants to, a warrior that wants to play an axe, right? Looking at the data side, right? Again, market's pretty flush, right? 28 current listings, multiple of those have, multiple quantities available. 78 cents. You can see here it kind of jumps up and down. I think, Nate, you had mentioned it. Maybe there are a lot of people out there that like Dory axes, and this just kind of gets bought and sold. This is just up and down. But right now it's under $1, which is the lowest it's been in a little bit, right? Since March. It actually looks like late March, but yeah, I think this is a pretty safe buy. I agree with you. Pick these up.
And look at the art.
Yeah, art's sick.
Give me that warrior, please.
Yeah, that dude's there for business.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump over to Cleave.
Yeah. Here, I don't know if this is the same person. Probably not, but like big axe doing big things. This card. So Wild Dynasty introduced one of the worst axes ever printed in U.S. history. This card is like low key, actually really good. It just there's no other axe support right now. So like. Yeah. But a 1 for 4 on your axes, and then this also has the upside of just sniping some dragons. It's going to be a staple if there's a good axe warrior released.
Yep. Yeah, just giving you that a little bit of tech ability against a ally character like Dromai currently. It's not bad at all. If the shadow heroes have allies as well, both Leviah and Chain did previously. Pretty hard to get out, but maybe that will change a little bit. Maybe allies become more, like spawning demons or something. Definitely
Spooky illusionist.
spooky illusionist. Yes, we talked about it last week. You might want to be whacking some more. You know, that's kind of one of Dory's problems currently, right? And maybe the new Axe Warrior can, use this in their favor. On the data side, just tons of them. I would say it's an interesting to note here, and I kind of like raised an eyebrow at it when I was looking at how many had sold in the last like week or so. And you see here 55. Someone bought 37 of these for 25 cents each. And that was like on April 7th, 3 days ago. Did not even dent the price. It's still 35 cents.
Ted did,
37 of them. I was like,
Ted did accuse me of buying 35
yeah, I
of
was
them.
like, Nate, was that you?
I've learned a long time ago not to make speculations on what might be printed. Just like go with the hard facts. Like we
Yeah.
know we're gonna get Warrior, we know we're gonna get Shadow and Light, but I think that eventually they will give Axe support. This one kind of looks like a little brutish too,
Mm-hmm.
and we haven't talked about it yet. But like I saw someone post that the back of the card art actually shows this where we're going in order. So after we go back to Dusk Till Dawn, we're going
Yeah.
to go to the Savage Lands, baby.
Yeah. So the only problem with that theory is, Nate, is that it conflicts with the it kind of so far it conflicts with the
With nothing. It's perfect.
okay. The lore text on certain cards, right? So there is a direct correlation, right? Soraya says we'll fight till dusk till dawn. It was 2 sets later. So the card with the most likely named set in it is the from the Flying Dojos. It could still be Savage Lands though. I mean, they called the one for the pits the Outsiders, so maybe it is Savage Lands. It would be very cool if it was.
What does the dojo say? What's the dojo?
I forgot to look it up.
Fake news then.
Yeah,
Fake news.
fake
Don't believe
news.
it. We're going to Savage Lands, babies. Pack your
Yeah.
tickets.
But anyways, pick these up, guys. Again, 35 cents. I mean, you're looking at $1. You're looking at just over $1, $2 with shipping. Why not? If you're a warrior guy, grab them and be prepared. And if not, they just sit in your binder until axes do show up, right? Okay, Nate. So yeah, that's our deep dive for this week. Buy list time. My buy list is an EA Trench and possibly cold foil daggers from Outsiders. Those are hard to get. Like we've mentioned, they are hard to pull and they are becoming rare and rare. I think the left hand scalpel is like $150 right now, man. I'd like to see those come down. I'm not going to go out and just buy them on a whim. Oh yeah, look at that, bling it out. But yeah, the EA Trench, Nate, is purely. I think the card is maybe not the greatest, but the EA Trench is purely. Federico is still undefeated on art, and that card is beautiful. And I'm a Timmy that can't win an RTN back and got the tunic, so I got to get an EA a different way, and that's by cash money.
Yeah. I wish I would have went harder during that RTN season.
Same.
I wish I wasn't so bad at everyone was so bad at the game back then.
I wish I just would have bought the one that I was in top 4 with and not sold it to the store.
That would have been a good life decision.
Yep.
I think it like on those points with the daggers, I think that in 2.0 the cold foil market is still like the daggers are now correctly priced, but they were very incorrectly priced for the longest time.
Yeah. I think some of them are still too cheap. I think there's some around 40 still. Some are going up because they're harder to get, but yeah.
For how rare they are, like it's almost like the Mask of Perdition, where it's just like that card's $150 and just not a lot exists in cold foil. So
Yeah.
like I think very much there, and like the cold foil equipment I think is still undervalued in outsiders.
Yeah.
I think that we may see it like maybe after the Pro Tour, um, when we start to see more deck lists, or maybe even after this weekend at Richmond. But I still think those are undervalued assets.
Mm.
My buy list this week though, go bananas. I
That's
want
a fun
one.
card.
It
Yeah.
is. It's a great card. It's a fun little mix of like fab history. Um, so that I'm still looking for some cold foil snaps, but with these numbers, I might go look at like gold foil snaps. If the price differentiation isn't that much different, I might go get some gold foil
Like,
snappies.
yeah, that'd be sweet, dude.
So that's God. I'm already spending. I've already. I've got a big bill waiting for me at Pro Tour because I'm picking
Yeah,
up some stuff
same.
there. Um, but I might
Yeah.
try and find some other things there too.
Oh, I know that feeling, man. I got a mat that I'm buying, Arcanite Shard mat, of
Yep.
course. And I'm also picking up from a friend 2 Command and Conquers and an Art of War Rainbow Foil that we made the deal a long time ago, but it's still a good chunk of change. But all right, I think that's going to do it for us here. Again, trying to keep these a little bit more bite-sized for everybody, on your
Yeah.
commute and stuff. So gonna wrap it up here, Nate. Everybody, thanks for the support. Please leave a comment, like the video, and subscribe if you want to get a heads up on when these videos come out. Again, I appreciate it, and it's been a lot of fun so far.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody.
Peace.
Peace out.